When you start watching self-improvement videos, there seems to be one clear message. Make money. Make lots of money. You want to retire your parents? You've got to make money. You want to travel the world? You've got to make money. You've got to work hard, and you want to achieve the life that you want, you've got to make money. And this is all correct. But a lot of people who are watching these videos are young men, teenage boys, 15 years old maybe. They're watching these videos and they're thinking, oh, I need to start a business, I need to do this. And there's nothing inherently wrong with that. Like, if you start a business at 15 and you're truly dedicated to that and you're learning things that early on, props to you, man. You're already ahead of where I was when I was 15. I was directionless at that age. Still kind of am, but slightly better. But we mustn't forget how important youth is. Because youth is a very interesting concept, and it's something that we're not going to have forever. There's not one turning point where you stop being young, I guess. We can all debate about what age it is where you stop being young. Some people might say it's 30 years old, 40 years old, whatever. There's no real definitive threshold, but you're not going to be classified as young when you're 60 years old. And I'm sure at 60 years old, when you look back on your youth, your late teens, your teenage years, your 20s, 30s, whatever it is, maybe you're going to wish you focused on other things, brought things into your world. Now, it is very difficult because I truly believe to get to the very, very top, you have to obsess over your work. You have to be dedicated. You have to not go to many social events, if any. You have to be completely and utterly focused on your craft. Now, do I think you need to do that to become successful? No, because reaching the top and becoming successful are two separate things. Reaching the top, sure, you're the best of the best, but you can still be successful in this world. There's so many billionaires out there who no one knows who they are. No one knows their name. They've remained anonymous or, just not become that famous. They're not the richest people in the world, but they're up there. And there was a part of me that when I was first watching self-improvement videos when I was 17, where I was like, yeah, I'm going to be that guy who works so hard. I'm going to shut myself in my room. I'm going to dedicate myself to YouTube, to this girl, do nothing but make videos. Did I do that? No. Because I had a life outside of YouTube. I had friends, I had college, I had hobbies, I had things that I could focus my other attention on. And I don't think it's good to have too many things where your attention is scattered. Because if you have a certain amount of water and too many plants, none of the plants are going to grow. If you have a certain amount of water and fewer plants, then they shall flourish. And it's true that if you have one plant, that if you put all your water into that one plant, it's going to grow wonderfully. It's going to bloom. But at the same time, it's like you could have this windowsill with one beautiful plant, or you could have a couple more beautiful plants that just complement it wonderfully, complement the room. And you wasting your youth just focusing on money, you miss out on so many different things. Just friends and relationships, going out, all that kind of stuff. Again, I'm not encouraging degeneracy. I'm not saying, oh, for all your 20s, go out clubbing every weekend and drink and take drugs or whatever. Of course not. But have a social circle. Have a group of people that you can just have a laugh with, you know. And again, I'm not saying just be friends with degenerates, but have friends just in general who are going to benefit you, who provide value to your life. Because there's so many young men who are taking the lonely, lonely path. And self-improvement can be very lonely because you outgrow a lot of your old friends that you have. You realize you're not the same people that you were, or maybe they are and you've changed. And you're going down this path where you've outgrown your old friends, but you're not good enough for the kind of friends that you're wanting. And that isn't necessarily the case a lot of the time. You can develop your social skills. You can start building a new social circle, or even just being social. That's the beautiful thing about being social, is that there's no real commitment, right? When you're talking to a stranger, you don't have to be friends with them. You don't have to be friends with everyone. And that's the beauty of it. Like, you can be a shining light in someone's day, and then you never see them again. And again, some people might say, oh, that's a bit messed up, but it's like, you're being positive. Like, let's say you're walking down the street, and there's someone you walk past and you like their shoes, and you say, oh, those are sick shoes, brother. And then continue walking your day. Tell them to have a good day. Keep going. You have made that person's mundane, monotonous life a bit more colourful. And it's little things like that, and it was completely free. You didn't need to become this high value man. You didn't need to have tons of money to do that, or have just the status of money to be able to say that. All you needed was words. All you needed was a little bit of a spark. And you should embrace that spark when you're young. Don't just focus on making money. Because your life's really going to fail. You're guaranteed to fail at some point. So you may as well have failures across all the board. Not just failures in money, but failures in relationships, failures in social settings, failures in fitness, failures in mental health. So you can be a better person, because youth to me is just figuring out things, Like I've said before in a previous video, we never truly figure life out. But your life kind of truly begins when you're a young adult, when you have freedom, when you're earning a bit of money. Don't waste that focusing on just monetary assets. Sometimes it's not about what you know, it's about who you know. And I think I would be so much further in my journey if I had just become a more social person. If I'd have embraced the humans around me, I would have learned so much more. And it's something that I'm actively doing now, where I'm just trying to because I've done too many things in an extreme. I've gone from, trying to be, lonely and on this self-improvement monk mode, whatever you want to call it, to trying to make everyone my friend. And I've done this before in the gym, where I've been talking to a random guy, starting a conversation. There's not really a compatibility there, but I'm just blinded by, the possibility of making a new friend. I'll be like, yo, what's your Instagram? We should do a workout sometime. We've never hit the workout, or we have one workout and never do it again. You can save yourself from that, or you can just learn so much more by just planting seeds and just... It's very hard to explain, but your youth is something you're never going to have again. You are going to wake up at some point and be 40 years old. So you need to make your youth, you need to utilize your youth to the best of your ability. Stop worrying so much. Stop focusing on money too much. Realize that life isn't just about one singular thing. You might have a goal in your mind, and that's fantastic. You have a purpose. You're ahead of so many people in that respect. But don't be a one-trick pony. Don't be that guy that became a billionaire because he focused on one thing and is lonely, is depressed, has no one in his life to fall back on. You can have all that, but why are you just trying to get rich so early on? Why are you focusing so much on money when there's people around you that you can love, that you can learn about, that you can gain the knowledge, which in turn will make you richer than you could have ever have possibly imagined? So that's something to think about. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. Put it on your wall. Why not? Take this video, make a physical copy of it, make a VHS of this video, stick it on your wall, and watch it whenever. Hope you've enjoyed. God bless. And as always, you take very good care of yourself.